The king oyster mushroom, one of my favorite mushrooms. You all know how much I use this mushroom. I use it quite a bit. I use it to make plant-based bacon. I've used it for steaks and scallops. I mean, it's a super versatile mushroom that doesn't have like that mushroom taste, you know? It definitely has a very mild flavor that can be cooked in loads of different ways. You can slice it thin, you can pull it. It's a super versatile mushroom. Now, I've been doing a ton of tests with these mushrooms, from salting them, pressing them, just to see if it makes the mushroom any better, any meatier, you know, just different. Doesn't necessarily have to be better, but just different. Now, in my pressing your mushroom test, that came out really wild. It was incredible how much of a difference it made by pressing the mushroom for a few days. It released some of the moisture, it changed the texture, it changed like pretty much the layout of the mushroom. Its consistency, really. Now recently I did a test where I used a very meat-based technique by coating tofu in salted butter, allowing it to rest overnight, and then seeing if there was any like osmotic potential that happened where the butter and salt interacted and removed some of the moisture and kind of buttered the tofu. Totally worked, came out awesome. So I thought, why don't we test the same thing on mushrooms? Will pressing the mushroom with salted vegan butter make it better? Make a difference? Let's just see. So what I've done is I've got 2 king oyster mushrooms and I cut them to the size of my tofu press. I then placed a 50-50 mixture of Miyoko's vegan butter, which is a cashew-based vegan butter, and Earth Balance vegan butter, which is a mostly oil-based. I mixed the two together and then added 2 tablespoons of salt to the mixture. Heated them in the microwave to melt them. I placed the mushrooms in the tofu press, poured the butter over top, the salted butter over top, put the lid on the press and pressed the mushrooms. We're now gonna throw these in the fridge. So now that these are in the fridge, we're just gonna let them rest. I was thinking about doing overnight, but I'm actually gonna give them 2 days. I wanna give them 1 extra day. Mushrooms are gonna be fine in the vegan butter for a few days. So let's do that. Let's come back in a few days and see, did it make a difference? I keep trying to find ways to make cooking plant-based and fungi-based foods easier and better, and that's why I'm using the Always Pan by Our Place, today's sponsor. Our Place makes beautiful products for the kitchen, and they became super popular after the release of the Always Pan. And I can totally see why. The Always Pan was designed to make home cooking easier. It's your fry pan, saucepan, steamer, skillet, saucier, saucepan, nonstick pan, and a spatula and spoon rest. You can go from boiling pasta to moments later heating up some vegan meatballs and sauce, all in the same pan. It doesn't get any easier than that. You can boil, steam, deep fry, saute, sear, braise. You could do so much and more. It's amazing. And when it's time for cleanup, it's super easy as nothing sticks to this non-toxic, non-stick coating. I mean, look at that. So gang, click the link in the description below and use code SauceStache10 to get 10% off of everything except gift cards and traditionware. That's SauceStache10, click the link, you're gonna love your Always Pan. Plus, shipping and returns are always free, and this pan is constantly selling out. You're not gonna wanna miss out. Always Pan and Our Place, thank you for sponsoring today's video. I am loving my Always Pan. And Monica has been really wanting one of these, so I'm really stoked about it because it's totally made her day. I'm stoked. This has been a few days. Ugh. Ooh, and it's very wet, very similar experience that happened with the tofu. There is a decent amount of moisture that looks like was pulled out of the mushroom. I will say right off the bat, it seems softer almost. Like there's definitely more moisture in the butter mixture than there was in the tofu mixture. Wow. And like there's a ton of moisture. This isn't what I was expecting at all. I mean, these just came out, they're very, very different than the way they originally were. Very different. Okay, so I'm bringing in a 3rd mushroom. This is just gonna be a fresh king oyster mushroom, not pressed. Now, all 3 of these came out of the same package, so it's pretty incredible to see the size difference, how much these mushrooms shrunk after being pressed, salted, and vegan buttered. So I'm gonna prep these in 2 different ways. For our fresh mushroom, because of its size and because of the way it is, I'm actually just gonna cut it into a few scallops and 2 planks. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. And for the planks, I'm just gonna give them a light cross pattern score. And then for the scallops, we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna score one side, cross pattern score, same thing. Now, out of the 2 buttered and salted mushrooms, we have one that's kind of flat and one that's kind of round. For the flat one, I'm just gonna leave it as is, and I'm just going to score it as a plank. So I'm just gonna score one side. The scoring kind of helps for the texture. It really gives that, really gives a nice meaty kind of appearance, but it also helps when you're flavoring it. It helps get the seasoning in just a little deeper. And then for the round one, I'm just gonna cut it into scallops. Same thing, we're gonna get probably 3 scallops out of these. And then for the scallops, we're gonna do just exactly what we did before here. It's crazy how much of a difference you can see between the fresh mushrooms and these buttered mushrooms. I think it's gonna make a huge difference. So at this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna season these up with just a touch of salt. I don't wanna go too heavy because I believe these buttered mushrooms are already gonna be fairly salty. And then we're gonna take our always pan. I'm gonna add just a little bit of olive oil. I'm gonna brush that in with just a paper towel and throw this over like a medium-low heat. So I'm gonna saute these in groups. We're gonna do the planks first and the scallops second. I mean, I have a really good feeling about the way these are cooking. See how they do. And these have cooked really wild. I mean, you could just see the difference between the two, between the buttered and non-vegan buttered. I mean, it's just incredible. Let's see if Monica can tell the difference. Baby, we're doing another buttered test. I'm not gonna tell you which one's which. We're just gonna take a bite. So let's start with the scalloped mushrooms, these guys right here. Okay. Cheers. Wow.
Very soft in the center. I mean, not soft like mushy, but just like tender. It has a great buttery taste, but not too buttery. I mean, buttery and a little salty. It just tastes really good.
Yeah.
Really flavorful and juicy.
Now, let's taste this one because we don't know which one's buttered yet.
Oh, okay.
But let's just give this one a try.
It does have a buttery flavor, but...
I think the flavor right off the bat just kind of gave that one away. Cheers.
Well, this one does not taste buttery. This is more tender.
So now this one's gonna be a little bit more difficult, I believe. That's you, there's me, boom, plank.
Okay.
Very good.
I can't tell if that's buttered or not. It's not a super buttery flavor off the bat, but it's nice and tender and juicy still.
Cheers.
Yeah, I believe this is the buttered one. It has
Yeah.
a much buttery flavor. And this one is a little bit more salty than this. You probably didn't need the salt again. But yeah, this is delicious. I love
tons of flavor. So that's it for that test. The buttered version won. And it was drastic.
Big difference.